Hey everyone, so today we actually have some good news for Opendoor. I've been seeing a lot of news recently about the housing market and the interest rate cuts, and as you can see, the chart is looking pretty good for Opendoor, and this is what I'm seeing in the chart in the news. For the chart for Opendoor, at the moment, we're up 11%, almost 12%. The price is currently sitting at $7.55. Let's look at the support and resistance we're at, and then we're going to look at the news, and then I'll come back to the chart one more time. Let's currently look at the support and resistance for Opendoor because the market is live right now, so I want to give you an update on where we stand. So the support for Opendoor right now is $7.30. If we go below $7.30, we're talking about $7.08. For the resistance for Opendoor, we're talking about $7.91. If we break $7.91, then we can test that $8, and this is how it looks on a daily. I put a lot of lines right here for the resistance because $7.90 is going to be the main resistance, right? Then after that is $8. Let's take a quick look at the news. Guess what happened? Suddenly, the Fed interest rate cut in December looks like it's back on the table. Last week, Wall Street seemed to have decided that a December cut was on the table again. On Wednesday, the CME Fed Watch Futures Index placed the probability of a cut at just 30%. But now we're looking at 75.5%. What has changed? John Williams gave a speech in which he all but called for a next month rate cut. And we have other Fed members on board for a rate cut also. We have Stephen Miron, Christopher Waller, Susan Collins, and John Williams. Stephen Miron consistently has advocated for a steep rate cut, arguing that inflation will fall sharply, stating that a 0.5% point cut would be appropriate for December. He wanted a half a cut, not a quarter point, but a half a cut. Christopher Waller has expressed greater concern about the health of the labor market and is in favor for additional rate cuts. Didn't say a quarter or a half, but he said additional rate cuts. So he's on board for a December rate cut. Susan Collins believes that keeping rates as it is would be appropriate for now, but noted that there is evidence of notably deteriorating labor market that could certainly justify for a near-term additional easing. December rate cut. John Williams indicated that there is room for a further adjustment in the near term to move policy closer to a neutral stance, which has increased the odds of a near-term rate cut in December. So the only person we're not sure about is Jerome Powell, but I have been hearing things that he's 50-50 now. Before, he was more so not in favor for a rate cut in December. But if we start to get more and more pressure from Fed members, a rate cut could happen. It could convince Jerome Powell to change his mind. And here's some news that kind of stood out that made me laugh a little. Jim Cramer recently shed light on Opendoor Technology. This is recently. I think this was today, right? Yeah. At 8:40 a.m., Jim Cramer shedded light on Opendoor. He gave his opinion about the stock. And this is what he said. Well, you know what? Here's the problem. The stock is high given the fact that the company makes no money. I'm not a believer until it makes money. That's just how I am. I love your enthusiasm, but it's not making money, right? That's what Jim Cramer said. Jim Cramer also said this. You know, I've got to tell you, this is a meme stock. And then in the next sentence, Jim Cramer praises the previous CEO, the lady. I forgot her name already, but the lady who left because of mounting pressure for her to leave. She left. And then he says this, I'm not going to jump on a situation that I thought was heavily, that some would say was manipulative. Okay? Some would say, I'm not going to jump on the train. So look, let's break this down. He says he's not buying a stock that's not making any money. So many stocks and so many companies out there that when they came out, they weren't making any money. Opendoor has been around for a while and they're not making any money. But Opendoor was doing well. Economy started doing bad. Housing market crashed. Opendoor not doing good. Now we wait and see if Opendoor can recover when the economy gets better and the housing market gets better. And as far as the previous CEO, the current CEO is 10 times, maybe 100 times better than the previous CEO. The previous CEO didn't seem like she had enough enthusiasm to make Opendoor a great company again. It seemed like that she was down and out, depressed because the economy is looking bad, and didn't really have much hope for Opendoor. She was also selling a lot of shares. If you look at the insider trading, she was selling a lot of shares in Opendoor while it's falling. So let's take one more quick look at Opendoor. Opendoor 1 minute chart, we broke the 708, we broke the 731, and then I said the next support was going to be at 791, right? So at the moment we're hesitating at the 756. For the rest of the day until market close, we're looking at a resistance at 769. We had some resistance at 756 because we went up there and it came down. But at the moment, the Bollinger Bands and the moving averages, it has the resistance at 769. So we're right in the middle between 769 and 730. That's where we're at the moment. But we are struggling a little bit at the 750 area. The volume is starting to go down a little, and the MACD starting to come down some. RSI is kind of going sideways. So we could be struggling a little bit in this area. But it doesn't mean it's over yet. We have a long way to go. It's only 11:30 Eastern. So anything can happen between now and close. At any time, more volume could come and push Opendoor higher. And if that happens, what we want to see is Opendoor test at 769. I want to show you one thing also about Lennar. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I did notice that Lennar has been moving pretty well the past few days. The whole week last week looked really good. It went from 112 all the way to 124. And this week also for Lennar started off good. Green candle on a weekly. Last week, a nice green candle. And as you can see, the bulls started buying and brought the candlestick all the way back up again. And the weekly for this one looks good so far, starting Monday. If you look at the Opendoor chart, last week was red. Lennar last week was green. So there's a possibility that Opendoor could start trending upward because it seems like it's a little bit behind. Lennar has been doing really well. 5 days in a row that Lennar looked decent, looked really good, right? And Opendoor, we only have 2 green days that look pretty good or decent. And Opendoor, we only have 2 days that are green with an uptrend. But as you know, Opendoor and Lennar are very different, but they are in the same sector, housing sector. So that's why sometimes you can compare Opendoor to Lennar. Quick example, Opendoor was in a downtrend for a while here. Lennar, same thing, downtrend for a while here. Lennar is in an uptrend here. Opendoor is starting to create an uptrend right here. So that's why you can compare sometimes Lennar and Opendoor since they are in the same sector. But yeah, so far, good day today. Looks real good. Straight uptrend, and we're consolidating right in this area. And if the volume start to come through again, that 769 is the area that we need to break. And one more thing, don't forget, because this is very, very important. Tuesday and Wednesday, those data reports are going to be important for Opendoor and the whole entire stock market. It could also change the mind of some Fed members if there should be a rate cut in December or not. Tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., PPI, month over month, retail sales, core PPI. 10 a.m., house price index. 11 a.m., pending home sales. Could be very important for Opendoor. Wednesday, 8 a.m., MBA mortgage applications. 9:30, durable goods order. 9:30 a.m. again, initial jobless claims. Continuing jobless claims. We had the durable goods, jobless claims 4-week average. Then again for Opendoor, 1 p.m., 15-year, 30-year mortgage rate. See if anything has changed from the last time. And here's a lot of other reports that were scheduled, but they're not going to come out because of the shutdown. A lot of reports, and we're not going to see any of them at all. So just keep in mind that these data reports could influence the stock market Tuesday and Wednesday, and possibly the end of day for today. It could move the stock up or down near 1:30, 1 o'clock, or power hour. Just keep that in mind. Thanks for watching. Take care. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like. More likes and subscriptions I get, the more Opendoor videos I'll do. Take care.